Right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning and welcome, everyone. To have you with us this morning. We have posted the agenda for today's meeting, but we have an early revision to it. For some reason, Hannah Fulmer felt because she was having a child today, it was okay to not come to the meeting. So we will not have a treasurer report. And I also wanted to make sure that there wasn't any requests for public comment that we needed to add to the agenda for today. So we will revise with the removal of the grant writer report. Are there any other adjustments or revisions that need to be made to the agenda today? Okay, then I would entertain a motion to accept the revised agenda for today's meeting.
Make a motion, we accept the revised agenda for today's meeting.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the revised agenda for today's meeting. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries and the agenda has been approved. The minutes have been posted and I had a chance to look them over. I did not have any questions or concerns. Commissioner Burkhardt, any questions or concerns regarding the previous minutes?
I don't.
Commissioner Walsh?
Nope.
Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept or to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I make a motion, we approve the meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries and minutes are approved. Again, welcome to everyone this morning. Keep doing what you're doing with the rain dances. Seems to be helping. A little bit of moisture out there. That's always good to see. It's amazing what it does for the spirits of people around, and I think that maybe it's just the smell of rain gives us hope, but glad to have that. I really have limited comments here. We will begin as commissioners. We will start our budget hearings this afternoon. We have two departments in this afternoon, so we will begin that process, which will take us a couple or 3 weeks to get through all of the department budgets. So that is on the agenda for later today. We do have an executive session at the end of this meeting, and that is for the purpose of establishing salaries for our elected officials. So I have no further comments. Commissioner Burkhardt, I will yield to you if you have anything.
I do not.
Commissioner Walsh.
I was just gonna mention, month of May is pretty busy month. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got Mother's Day, so I wanna say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And the other thing is graduation's coming up, so that'll be pretty exciting times like it always is in the month of May, so lots to look forward to, and corn planting season. That's exciting times, so hopefully all that goes well, and yeah, hopefully makes it a good month, so.
Very good.
Look at him stepping.
I know.
This is amazing.
Why, that's 2 weeks that are meetings in a row.
The chairman.
That's right. Good for you. Yeah, no, appreciate the comments, and yeah, I kind of thought about the graduation deal. That would be after our mid-month meeting. But for sure, the Mother's Day deal. Yeah, a week from Sunday. No, it's this Sunday, isn't it? Mother's Day.
Absolutely.
Good thing I cleared that out.
I think you brought that up.
Just saved myself without whipping. So, okay, Commissioner Walsh, thank you very much. If there are no other comments, we will roll right into our departmental reports, starting with the clerk of court report. Good morning, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good.
Well, for this month of April, the fees that were turned into the treasurer were $4,407.60.
It's that long to type 4407.
I know, right?
So, yeah. Have anything else?
Good, everything's good. Had a little situation last week with an upset customer. Drew the attention out of the downstairs offices. But we handled it and, I put in a request to IT to clean another camera so I could be on my door. To see if he's coming in, and I just wanna, show my concern for courtroom security still. I know everybody's working on that, but, it was not a good one last Monday.
Okay, so it was a disgruntled customer in regards to,
Business in my office,
okay,
yeah, and so, tried to de-escalate the situation, but sometimes there's no, just deal with it and then it got pretty bad to where judge came out of chambers, he heard the yelling and stuff, and we got a deputy over and it was fast, but it was handled. But just something that you guys are aware of, stuff like that does happen up there, and, I just wanted to let you know that I did request another camera. So. But other than that, things are good.
okay,
Mhm.
very good. Well, sorry you had to deal with that and I'm glad that it was handled
Oh,
quickly.
yeah.
So,
We just
yeah,
want you guys aware again. Thanks for keeping the work up on helping us get that secure courtroom security up there. It's, we can do, we do.
absolutely. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay, as always, thank you for your report, appreciate it. Questions, Commissioner Burkhardt?
Nope.
Commissioner Walsh?
Nope.
There a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the clerk court report.
Have a second.
Is that-
We need to add the earnings report.
And the earnings report, yes.
Okay. So it has been moved and seconded to accept the clerk of court report, including the earnings report. Those in favor say aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
So again, we will skip over the grant writer. Exciting day for a Fulmer family. She, Hannah is women last night. And in typical Hannah fashion was sending an email at sometime around midnight, I think.
Yeah, 11.
Yeah.
She had sent the report last week, so it will be attached to the minutes when I post them on the website. So
Right? So we wish Hannah and Brandon and Waylon, who will be a big brother by the end of the day, hopefully, as we welcome our newest resident of Goshen County. So we will skip over the grant writer report and go to the road village. Good morning.
Good morning.
I've got to get that Darth Vader walk up song. Queued up.
Did you know I said it? So we go
No, I did not.
May the fourth be warning.
You guys did not have any
Chris, little moisture in the roads, maybe able to move it around and
Yep,
that's positive.
it is positive.
Sounds like down south, maybe even a little bit more, so.
Was in the ditch on the way in here.
Really?
Yep,
Wow.
Sure was.
Super exciting.
Good.
Wasn't stopping that way. He was just headed that direction and. Like, yeah, well, we'll just drive until it catches. We get out. So. But no, it's really wet down there. We got the blade running up north today. And he said he got about 1/4 of an inch, but he's gonna go ahead and run. On his stuff, so they didn't get near as much up there as we got down here. But everybody else is gonna wait tomorrow, instead of moving mud today, we'll move some good dirt tomorrow. This last week or so, that little shot of moisture that we got last week helped out a bunch. I don't know the exact number, but I would say we got well over 100 miles of road done this last week, and most of those roads were done in pretty good shape. It wasn't enough, to, that anybody did any damage to it. But they sure did shape up really nice. We got We got text messages this weekend. And phone messages this weekend from people that said. Roads were really, really nice.
I must say, can I add right here, a person who comes to my office regularly to complain about the roads. Came to my office this last week to tell me what a good job the person is doing that creates his road out in Goshen Hole.
So who would that be?
Wow.
That's Dana.
It's always refreshing to me when people make a point of complimenting rather than. And I think sometimes we tend to maybe focus on some of those negative reports, but certainly nice to hear the compliments and. So, and I know that, that there are still a lot of areas out there that. It is just crazy to me, and I don't even remember which road I was on the other day, but. The deterioration just because of how dry it's been and lack of ability to put anything on it. And short of, I mean, you could haul loads and loads of water and try and get ahead of it. I don't know if you could in some of those areas.
We don't have the equipment or the manpower to be able to do that. Literally all winter, if we'd had trucks and, the ability to get that done, we'd have run trucks almost every single day in front of each blade. If you look, you'll see that the north-south roads are our best roads right now. There's an exception in there, here and there, but a lot of our east-west roads. And it just took the gravel and everything off right down to the base. And it's laying in the shoulders. So the guys have got to go back into the shoulders, grab that, pull it back up, try and get everything lined out. And unfortunately, on a lot of that stuff, it's powdery. So as soon as the wind starts again, it takes the powder, it moves it off, and then the rock sits there and everybody drives on it, the wind, and everybody rolls it off into the shoulders again. It's tough to get those ones lined out. It's gonna take a little bit. But we do have some, like the one I got a compliment on this weekend is an east-west road, but Dana had 4 miles opened up. I stopped and visited with him for a couple of minutes and he said, I'm just taking a chance on it. See, he says, I think I got it. And that little band of rain, it's about half a mile wide, caught him on that road. And he said, I didn't know what else to do. He said, I just moved it off. He said, it was almost a slurry and got it off on the side. And then I got a text message said that road's the nicest it's been in decades. So,
Better be lucky than good.
yeah, some days.
But you hear what they're dealing with down in Nebraska after these fires down there and the way that dirt's moving and the old adage that you could always find somebody that would trade you your problems is
Right.
very true. And so we'll continue to deal with it, but thank you to you and your department for what you guys are doing.
Absolutely. I genuinely think we're getting ahead of the game, even, with the challenges that we're facing. But I've talked to a lot of other superintendents around the state that they're all asking each other the same questions. What are you guys doing? Nobody has a good answer.
Yeah.
We're all in the same boat. Yep.
Okay,
It's really, I was just gonna talk about the rain.
that was your report.
That was pretty much my
That was
report.
easy.
We're excited. We're gonna have probably 2 or 3 good days that we can get some roads packed and get them shaped up nice and see what we can get done.
Very good.
Luckily for you, I don't have anything bad to add. Just happy to have the rain. Move along with getting things caught up. I have driven a lot of miles of the roads that we have responsibility for in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And even with the drought, I've seen worse. It's amazing that they are holding up as well as they are. Even the corrugations, there's places where there's some corrugations. Not that bad. We're lucky.
I think bigger concern than our than our gravel roads right now. Some of what we see, just to increase traffic and the weight of some of these loads and different things. What it's doing to some of our paved
Yeah.
roads, state and county.
Mhm.
And I've had, a couple of different contacts from people that are wondering, why we're seeing an increased amount of traffic coming through town. Trucks that are headed to the port of entry, and that is not something that the county has enforced. That is coming from YDOT. But I think, the traffic is one thing, but the wear and tear that we're seeing with it. Those are conversations that I think will have to be brought to the forefront, because I see rapid deterioration in some of our paved habits.
Well, on that note, I agree, we'll sit down and have that conversation. We're looking at those things right now. I've talked to some of the ag producers as well. But the way things have been looking, there's a lot more hay trucks coming in. There may be a lot of cattle trucks headed to the sale at some point. So there is an increased amount of traffic through all the sectors, and we've looked at that stuff. We continue to drive it. I know what needs patched. We'll have the Durapatcher out and going. It'll probably be at least 3 weeks, just with the amount of projects that we have to get done. But we'll have the Durapatcher out. I know I sent the guys out last week, just to do some cold patching on some of the roads. I had just gotten in a pallet of it, and they burned through it in a day. It was just gone. So we're on top of it. We know what's gonna need done, and it's just a matter of getting all that scheduled in there. But you're right, there is a deterioration on those roads.
We do have a plan. We have prioritized, look at all the paved roads and trying to prioritize that. We have about a little over 120 miles of paved roads. And we do have some money set aside in the CRF fund to do a chip seal project, a crack seal and chip seal project. Chris is experimenting with doing some of the crack seal possibly with the Durapatch. See how that works out. They're so bad in a lot of places. We have to use different materials, which are very expensive to patch those severe cracks, those 3-4 inch wide cracks. But we think we can do that with the Durapatch a lot cheaper. The bottom line is money. We have enough money set aside to do probably between 10 and 15 miles. But the math's pretty easy here. They're 10 and 15 miles, 120. And prioritizing those is not easy. That's historically fairly, it's a little worse now, but not much. It's historically, that's what we have in that same situation on our paper. There just simply is not enough money. It costs a lot to even do a chip seal for a paved road. It went up, of course, is up again now. The cost of oil is up a little, and it's tough. Where do we get the money? The source of that funding was the CRF fund, which was basically severance tax. Majority of it severance tax. Well, we all should know, if we don't, what's happened to severance tax. We're getting about 1/4 of what we did 6 or 8 years ago. And so the fund is not going up rapidly, and it will not continue. I don't see that changing a lot in the severance tax arena.
I think it's probably important to make the designation that the county is not responsible for like Highway 85, Highway 26, that's state maintained highways. We're talking about the secondary highways.
Yeah.
Or county roads that are paved within Goshen County.
Correct.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think the state's in the same situation. I mean, they come to us every year and they give us their plan over the next 5 years. I think 85 is supposed to get work over next year. From Silvertip to Torrington, I think. If it's
No.
I think it
That
was
was 31. They said
I think there was
31.
a part in 27, they were.
I think there were several years out, but I think they are modifying that. I think they may be
That's what they were
changing.
saying.
That-
Okay.
Yeah, they were gonna try.
They were
So-
gonna try to push it out,
Yeah.
but they were off work this year.
So, and you know, they're in the same situation, it all depends on what the legislature approves for them to spend, and talking with them, their budgets stayed pretty level with cost. Cost to maintain highways continues to go up, so we're all in the same boat.
Now, focusing on tax cuts may not be the wisest thing.
Yeah.
At this time. We are fortunate in the amount of taxes that we do pay. Is pretty low.
We have $95 a barrel oil right now too.
Yeah.
That makes it infinitely more expensive.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people understand, you know, I hear some snickering in the back, but you know, those taxes pay for the roads.
Right.
So on one hand, we get people come complain, saying, "Well, my road's bad." Well, we have the lowest taxes in Goshen County, so I mean, it's.
Right.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Is there any update on plans on 152, the agreement?
We're working with
Yep.
them
Still
right
right
now.
now.
Yeah. Like we're on our third meeting tomorrow, I think, is scheduled. And they know that it's gonna cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is no question.
No, we haven't moved on that. Yeah, we're not.
Not quite there yet.
Trying to bring us good news.
Well, it's been fairly uneventful, just nothing amazing and nothing bad, so it's kind of calm in the planning office at the moment. I've just been working on applications that need to be done. I got a few tweaks I need to do to the capital one, so I can get that one uploaded so people can and send notices out to those that need a reminder. To sit down and go over some fee schedules. I think we're gonna have to set a meeting between all of us to kind of review that, so. Finding a time where we're all available and not running to different places, so we'll hopefully have that scheduled by the end of the week. If I'm not mistaken, I think everything for Riverview has been turned in with the exception of one thing. They had a problem with one map. But he said he should have had it in yesterday. I have not received confirmation, so I will follow up on that today. So fingers crossed, he has everything they need. I have been doing a lot of digging and just comparing state statutes and our regs, and so that's kind of what I've reading a lot of trying to get some clarification as to the differences in our subdivision regulations and enforceability and all that stuff. So I've emailed back and forth with the county attorney, and I hope to go in and meet him probably in the next week. Sit down and kind of go over some of our options and get some suggestions from him. So other than that, I think it's been fairly quiet, just a lot of putting together, you know, I don't think there was really any understanding, and like I said, when I started organizing and filing and putting things away and noticing things that were missing, there was really no standard order of procedure for any of the application processes. So that's kind of where I've been focusing, so everybody knows what documentation is needed, what needs to be included. And again, there was a few permits that didn't even have applications at all. So I've kind of been trying to make sure that everything's included in that stuff as well. So.
Can you explain that just a little bit more on what our previous permitting looked like on capital?
There was no application whatsoever for our CAFOs. I went back, I know that we had done some stuff and we had looked over. I want to say it was like I can't remember which email I received, but it was an email letting me know that this was the official application. But there was no information with it. So it was just, this is basically from the previous planner, it just sent an email saying, this is your notice of application for CAFO. I was like, Okay. So there was new thing,
So,
yeah,
and now you're currently making an application process and
yeah,
putting together all the information that the producers need to fill out
right,
to complete an application.
yes, and it's gonna. Basically, I have to go through our regs and make sure everything that we require and everything that DEQ requires, it comes through us and then it goes. And we can say, okay, you've got all your stuff, we're gonna look at it, we're gonna review it, and now you're good to go and send your information off to DEQ. At least that's how the capital ones are gonna work, but. I mean, every process is gonna be a little bit different, so it's a lot of just comparing and making sure that everybody knows how it works between the county and the state. So,
We were kind of in the middle of a fees chart too. Where did that all end up at? We've not really solidified anything on the fee side. So where are we at with that?
well, I was told that they had already had a meeting with the previous planner. There were notes. And I think at the planning commission meetings, if I remember correctly, he just didn't have that information with him. He pulled up some how other counties had done it, but it's really hard when you're comparing a county whose population is, you know, twice as large as ours or has, I mean, it's, so we just kind of keep pushing it down the road, but I think, you know, we definitely need to take a look at it and adjust a few things for sure.
Is there a group, like we have the WCCA for the county commissioners? There's the clerks group, different things. Is there any kind of
Association.
association or pool of county planners that you can work with?
I've been looking into that, so I can maybe include some of that stuff in the budget. There are some, it's kind of like what you said, it's a group of it's planners and then planning commission as well. And there is membership fees associated with it, but it's got amazing information. I don't remember the name of it. It's all in my office, unfortunately, but it's got manuals, it's got, you know, lots of information for planning commissions that I don't think they've probably had prior. It just kind of explains things a little bit and how, you know, how important, you know, that position being in that appointed position is. There's conferences I think that are held that you can attend. So I'm looking to see if I think I found a good one. I've also looked into some of the ADA stuff since the office takes care of that, and there's some certification that needs to go along with it. Kind of in the same thing, you can just, it's an organization, so you can make sure everything stays up to date. So I've been looking into some of those things in order to make sure that budget wise they're included, so it can be something that we have for the planning commission as well as just the planning and ADA compliance part of it too.
That kind of brings me to work that we need to actually start, like, we need to figure out what we're gonna do some interviews for positions. Because we need to fulfill a spot on the board and a planner.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked my question is in regards to watch what is going on in counties around us. Maybe most specifically in Laramie County, you talk about a hotbed down there, and I'm sure all things that have come across the desk of a county planner down there. Not that we would expect, you know, correspondence back and forth, you know, daily updates on what's happening with their situation, but I think that a lot of the things that counties around us are dealing with will come across your desk eventually as well. So I was just curious,
Yeah,
and. It has been very interesting to watch what's going on. Especially down there with the data centers and
a lot,
things, yeah,
it is a lot.
and it's always something new,
Mhm.
seems like it's ever changing. So,
And rapidly.
It's good to be prepared for those things,
um,
you know.
A lot of conflicting stuff on those data centers.
oh,
It's been a lot of information out there, but it's hard to tell what's the truth.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think, and it's gonna, you know, from this position, you have to look at everything objectively and you have to see both sides. And, you know, I get it. But there and again, it's one of those things that this is why I think a lot of people don't understand is that the more involved the community is, the more they come to these planning commission meetings, the more they use their voice. The planning commission act can actually, you know, listen and hear both sides, because I think a lot of times, just I know, the year that I was on the planning commission, I heard a lot of we don't want this, or a lot of negative things, but it was really hard to see where the county actually stood because we never heard the other side of it. So I think it's nice to see. I've kind of seen and watched some of the bantering online as well. It's kind of a toss up. You look down there and you hear there's a lot of people for them, and then there's a lot of people against it. So it's a tricky situation. It's just something to be prepared for, and I think they're doing the best they can. And I do think they're listening to everybody involved. It's just, that's a tough one. It is a tough one.
all good conversation, so, okay, anything else, Karen?
For right now, I think that's about all I have. Nothing new's really come across the desk, so it's just a lot of preparing and planning for things to come.
Commissioner Burkhardt, further questions?
And you don't?
Commissioner Walsh? There are no further questions or comments, I would entertain a motion to accept the road bridge report.
Forced to accept the report.
I would second.
Been made and seconded to accept the road bridge report, those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those opposed. Thank you all. Good to see you, Snow.
Good to see you.
Go back out and continue with your rain dance. Mary, are you prepared?
Hopefully. I have a resolution. This is a couple of bookkeeping items through by statute that I need to do for election. I have a resolution to establish districts and precincts for Goshen County. So we have Prairie Center, JM, Torrington City, Torrington Rural, which are both at the Rendezvous Center, Lingle, Fort Laramie, Veteran, Yoder, Huntley, Hot Springs, LaGrange, and Iowa Center. Also, for election judges, I plan to pay them $7.25 an hour for the time that they work. They will be paid whatever the federal mileage rate is for anyone who has to travel over 5 miles one way on election day, or to come to class, or to deliver equipment to the courthouse. There's a $10 payment for when they come to their class that we have before the election. Any alternates who come to class but don't actually get called to go work at a polling place will get paid $25 for that one-time trip to come into town and come to a class. We plan to use the DS200 tabulators for tabulating our votes on election night. And I'm planning to hire 2 people to work in my office part-time. when early voting begins, and I'm planning to pay them $15 an hour. I guess that's about it. The filing period is, we're in the month of the sign up to run for office, and that starts on May 15th. And
Goes through the 29th. Is that correct?
I believe so. I don't have my.
May 29th is the last Friday of the month. So
Yep.
if I remember right, it's 4:00 on May 29th.
5 o'clock.
5:00.
We'll
Okay.
stay open an extra hour for that person that procrastinates.
Okay,
Okay. I have the warrant. Report is down that way somewhere, and the labor or the payroll. Report. Our earnings for the month of April were $18,027.03, which is, we had a super busy month. Normally our income is around $12,000 to $14,000, and we do collect money in $15 to $45 increments mostly, so we were really busy collecting and waiting on customers and shorthanded and working overtime.
on the resolution on the election districts and precincts, that has not changed, correct? That is,
It's not changed.
Okay.
I did not put the exact location. We have a few places that aren't ideal, but we don't really have any better places in that area, so we'll probably be at the same places. They're not real secure or ADA compliant.
Did we get through a grant, did we get some more camera equipment for that? I'm trying to remember.
We got some game cams the last election to set up at the places where we don't have connectivity.
And we put in a grant to get some more of that stuff and it was denied, right? What am I thinking of?
We put in
Yeah.
a grant to get e-poll books.
E-poll books, but I thought there was some other stuff. Maybe
No,
not.
there was cameras, but they got denied.
Yeah, there was some camera stuff in there to help with our security and. Yeah. And that was a state grant, right?
so I will read resolution 2026-07, a resolution establishing election districts and precincts. Whereas pursuant to Wyoming State Statute 22-7-101 provides as follows. The Board of County Commissioners, with the advice or recommendation of the county clerk, no later than its first meeting in May in every general election year, shall divide the county into not more than 30 election districts. Each district shall be designated by number. Election district shall be changed only at the designated meeting. Whereas pursuant to Wyoming State Statute 22-7-101, the Board of County Commissioners of Goshen County, Wyoming, upon the recommendation of the county clerk, proposes to divide the county into the following districts / precincts. Whereas on May 5th, 2026, the Board of County Commissioners made a motion to accept the 2026 districts and precincts for the 2026 election. Now therefore be it resolved, the following election districts and precincts and polling places are to be set for the next 2 years in Goshen County, Wyoming. 1-1 Prairie Center, 2-1 JM, 7-1 Torrington City, 7-2 and 7-3 Torrington Rural, 8-1, 8-2 Lingle, 9-1 Fort Laramie, 13-1 Veteran, 15-1 Yoder, 16-1 Huntley, 17-1 Hawk Springs, 18-1 LaGrange, 20-1 Iowa Center. The countywide early voting and absentee polling place at the courthouse will be open from 8 until 4 Monday through Friday, excluding holidays, for 4 weeks prior to each election. Adopted this 5th day of May 2026 at the meeting of the Goshen County Commissioners. Again, that is resolution 2026-07. The resolution of establishing election districts and precincts. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve 2026-07 resolution.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to accept resolution 2026-07 as presented. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is accepted. Yeah. There, Mary had also provided the information on the proposed pay scale for election officials. Any questions in regards to that proposal?
I don't.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion to approve that pay schedule for election officials as presented.
I make a motion, we approve the pay scale that Mary presented to us for elections.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the pay scale for election officials as presented. That would also include reimbursement for mileage.
Yes.
Okay, yep. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mary, anything else?
The tabulating equipment, please. We're using the DS-200 to tabulate.
What was the tablet name?
DS-200.
Yes, 200. Or TD2.
RTD.
Later.
I make a motion that we use the DS-200 tablets to calculate votes.
Tablets or tabulators?
Tabulators.
Sorry.
Add tablets on it.
I will second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the DS-200 tabulators for use as the with our general election for the coming year. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
It's for the election full cycle.
So for the primary and the general
Yes.
election. So would you like, do we need to change the motion completely or amend it?
I think my motion was to approve, to use them for elections.
Okay,
I think it's what my motion was.
that works.
I mean,
Right? Is that what my motion?
yeah, I probably screwed it up when I said for the primary, but. Okay, so it is for the use of the coming election cycle.
Yes.
And we are sure that it's a DS-200 tabulator.
Yes, it is.
All right. Mary, anything else? Gentlemen, any questions for Mary?
Oh, it's up for the reports. You have to approve it.
But now she's asking a lot.
Hold on.
the earnings.
We need to accept their reports.
We gotta accept, yeah,
I make a motion, we accept the warrant earnings and employee payroll reports.
I'll second that.
been moved and seconded to accept the county clerk's report, including the warrant report, the earnings report, and the employee payroll report. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mary?
Did we dare ask anything?
Exactly. Thank you.
Go for it.
Tom? Emergency management firework and IQ.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Tom, how are you today?
Good. Just been busy as usual, but that's normal. So, you guys have already been sent the, report via online there, so you guys should have that. We did, when it comes to the month for the EM, I'll go over the EM stuff first. It's kind of basically the same stuff as normal, everything's kind of, status quo when it comes to, run the office there. We did have the, coordinators conference and meeting, where we talked about, it was supposed to be the flood summit, but ended up being the drought summit instead, about that. And the majority of it was, what we're gonna do in the long term. But there was a lot of discussion there and different stuff. We also talked about the new Sentinel missile project as well as the influx of data centers that kind of hit the paper today as well in Cheyenne, and Laramie County is becoming a target rich environment for cybersecurity type stuff that's going on. On the grant side of it, the MRG is finally moving forward, got everything at the state's office waiting for their final approval. We've got several of our new siren kits in to basically manufacture or repair all the sirens, get them all up to date. They're working now, but they're one-way communications. They've all lost the ability to pop back to the buildings here and to dispatch. So none of them are in failure mode, but they're getting close to it. So luckily the state grants are gonna pay for every one of them in the county to do the upgrade on the electronics box. Now, they're not upgrading the upper part of it, which usually doesn't need it every 20-25 years. So we're just doing the box, the communications tool, the drivers, that type of stuff. The 25 SHSP grants, we're still awaiting those to be signed off in the Attorney General's office. There, we've got the two AEDs for the sheriff's office vehicles that don't have AEDs, plus the new advanced life monitor AED system for inside the jail itself, which is basically a defibrillator, monitor, and EKG kind of all in one. It's a very expensive machine, but the state stepped forward into buying it for us. The last two siren upgrades, that now gets us all of them, sirens getting done, as well as our room server. It's a partial award for the room server, but the only reason it's a partial is because it went up in price. IT equipment, according to both of our vendors that we use, are probably expected to increase over 40% over the next 3 months in price for pretty much everything. So we also have what's called the 2023 short-term SHSP grants that are out there. We got denied several of them. You can see on the package there, but we did get awarded the metal detector for the courthouse here and another encoder for the machine. So now all the dispatch will have an encoder, this building will have an encoder, and the new building will have an encoder as well. We operate the entire system, but all of the 23s and 25s are waiting for signature from the Attorney General's office. On the fire warden side, I guess Chris kind of covered everything there. We've got a little bit of moisture. We're still well below where we need to be. The entire county, as of right before the rain yesterday, we were in our, again, third driest year on record. the precipitation outlook over the next 60 days, even though we're getting some in the next couple of days and maybe some next week. We're still well below our average for the year. Out of 132 years of recording, we're still well over, right at, well, not quite, but close to an inch below where we need to be, rain wise. Pretty much all counties now have entered stage 1 ban, except for a couple still out on the west side of our, side of the city. And if you narrow it down from the 60 to the 30-day, they're looking at still a 50% drop in our regular average moisture for the month. So, so far when it comes to prescribing, people have been really good about calling the office, letting me know they were burning. Been good about letting dispatch know. And we've kind of built on that. With red flag days, try to convince them not to burn on red flag days. And so far, everybody stepped forward and voluntarily complied with any request that me or the fire district has made to them. Reference out of holding off burning a different day or something like that. So, most part, we were getting real good compliance out of that. We haven't had to send the sheriff's department out to talk to anybody yet. On the IT department side, 365 migration is coming to its final stages. We're getting ready to start. We were going to start today, but we're going to start next Tuesday instead because of our vendor having some issues with another implementation. We're going to start decommissioning the old servers next week. We're entering into stage 2 of the actual network upgrade. Most of that we'll be getting off grants. We get this state cybersecurity grant. That's we already won last year, and we got the one this year we're putting in for right now. I'll be finishing when that Hannah's done most of that one for us. We did the backbone for her. She did most of the typing, so we just gotta get that sent off probably today or tomorrow. And if we're able to win that grant, that'll bring our network pretty much up to, except for a handful of servers and one software package, we'll be kind of in today's standards of where we need to be with our IT closet. So Tyler and the clerk for the clerk's office and treasurer's office still being deployed. And me and Mary and Letitia are working with them in reference to on-site training and stuff like that. We're working with NovaFloor for our on-site security training, which is our human factor, phishing and stuff like that. If some people have already had the phishing hooks added to their email address, if you haven't noticed that yet. It's just a good way of keeping people aware that there's stuff up, people out there trying to be bad actors. And that's really all I have. I think everything else is to be talked about at another meeting, but maybe next month when I got more information on the phone migration system. It's hard so far. We've got 5 vendors we've talked to so far. Only one offers an on-premise version of a phone system. Every phone system we've talked to, every company we've talked to so far, all are doing it by what they call SaaS, subscription as a service, meaning a yearly recurring payment versus being able to buy the equipment, install the phones and use it. So I'm just waiting for pricing on all of that stuff. Since our phones will no longer, we've already gotten our last update, we're getting no more updates for the phone system. So as they start breaking and will no longer communicate with our network, they'll eventually fail out. So we'll start replacing those eventually. Our business and all in one thing, you gotta do them all at one time. So we'll look for the most cost effective and efficient way, not only in the short term, but for the long term as well.
Tommy, you mentioned some server upgrades. Remind me how much does the server cost?
As of today, $26,000 a piece.
They're going up 40%.
They're going up 40% over the next. They're going 20% this month and 20% next month.
And how many servers do we currently have?
26, of which 21 are out of service.
past their,
past their end of life, their life expectancy.
and I think you and your team have kind of condensed, gonna be able to be more efficient in that area, right?
Yeah, we've already, the way we've designed the network and the way we're gonna be pulling it in is we're getting rid of 5 to 6, 5 for sure. We're waiting to see what the VM environment's gonna be. What the cost, is gonna be with VMs, our virtual machines. We have like 62 virtual machines. And we're gonna see if it's cheaper to maybe push a couple more of those to our virtual machines, we'll do that. Especially once we have the backup center, because we'll have that backing everything up. But if the VMs, because there's only 3 companies that sell enterprise grade virtual machines, and the one we use is Broadcom, which is vSphere, which is kind of like the Xerox of copiers. It's kind of like, the more expensive one. We've been on it since it came out years ago, so we're looking at some other ones. Microsoft offered one called Hyper-V, and there's a couple other companies we're looking at right now as well. So it really depends on that, but we'll be able to cut at least 5 back, maybe more if we can get that. So, and like the RIM server, it's a specialty server, so that server's 33,000 a piece. So then you have the storage unit that has to go with it. Storage unit's about 170 to $180,000 a pop. So, but we've got most of that, almost all of that, we've got off grants. It's not really came out of the county coffers. So.
What was that percentage that it went up?
It's going up 40% over the next 60 days. And we're trying to lock in some of those prices with quotes so that if grants do come through and stuff like that, maybe they'll honor them. They'll sell them to us at the lower price.
So we're looking at $1 million worth of servers over however long it's gonna take it to get it done.
And the thing of it is you gotta spread that cost out. And once we get them replaced, put them on a spend plan that actually just buys a couple every year so that you don't end up in this situation again of trying to hunt down lots of money to get it all back up to speed. So. And that's the plan now, and with the budget yield that I'll be presenting you guys, you'll see that spend plan already kind of starting to take shape. But we still got purchases to make that happen, but I'm depending upon grants to pay for that. So that we don't have to, so. Shoot for the moon for those things.
You don't get there if you don't shoot for it, right?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else, Tom?
That's all I have.
Appreciate your report. Appreciate the advance edition of it, so we can look at that. Commissioner Burkhardt, any questions for Tom?
You don't.
Commissioner Welch?
No.
I would entertain a motion to accept the emergency manager, the fire warden, and the IT report.
So moved.
And second,
It's been moved and seconded to accept the emergency manager, fire warden, and IT report. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
guess I would note, we still have an IT director position currently.
Yes. Everybody wants it, raise your hand.
Watch him come running. Public health. Morning,
Morning.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I sent you my report email for the evening.
Good.
I would just like to say, we have been working some quality improvement plans in our office with vaccines. I mailed out like 20 letters on April 11th. We got them back, we got 2 of them back for the address was wrong. We got it back on April 27th. It took 2 weeks to go to Cheyenne, to mail to Torrington, to go back to Cheyenne, to come back to Torrington. And you're fine. Anyway.
I really don't have a whole lot. We have some upcoming events. Starting tomorrow is National Nurses Week, so if you know any nurses, reach out and tell them Happy Nurses Week. Our Senior Resource Expo is gonna be Friday, May 22nd at the Pony Express Room from 9 to 1. We have over 24 vendors, I think, signed up. I did bring some flyers that I can leave. It's no cost to anybody. We are doing a lunch and giveaways from all the vendors. And the lunch this year is not going to be hot dogs from Pinnacle. We're doing pulled pork sandwiches.
Ooh,
So
stepping up your game.
stepping up our game.
Wow.
We had complaints about the hot dogs over the last couple of years, so we are stepping things up a little. Safe Kids Day is gonna be August 29th, and that's gonna be at the Goshen County Fairground. We'll get that kind of all buttoned up in later this year. We have some upcoming conferences because May is like conference for public health. I just listed the ones for May. Our PHRC is currently in Cheyenne. It's face to face. We have an admin conference, and then our MCH nurses are gonna take a children's mental health symposium in Casper. I told you I'd come back with our lunch being closed for our lunch. It has brought a lot of relief to the office. We close from 12 to 1. We put it on our voicemail. It's on our bulletin. We put it on our sign on our door. We have had no complaints. People call, they leave a message over lunch. IT fixed our phones because they were ringing 8 times before voicemail picked up. I think he fixed it to like 4. So we would like to continue that. And bless it.
Didn't we approve that right before Christmas?
We did a 3-month trial. It was a 3-month trial.
It was right after.
And I said, we just come back and kind of report how that all went. What I put in your email is actually the post from the Wyoming Department of Health on the measles. We have our first measles case in Wyoming, and it is in Fremont County. It is a confirmed case, an adult. And then in there is listed all the places that the person went. And it was a weekend, so normally I wouldn't have stuck that in there, but since it was a weekend and we do travel, right, to other parts of the state, I just wanted to kind of let you know when that was at. The one thing I do want to say is Dr. Harris, every time we have a measles outbreak, she does always give great insight. So I'd like to read her quote. Says, we are asking individuals who could have potentially been exposed to self-monitor for measles symptoms for 21 days past exposure and consider avoiding any public places or high risk. It does take 7 to 21 days for symptoms if you have been exposed to measles. The symptoms include fever, cough, runny nose, red eyes, and you most likely will have a rash. That's like the hands down measles symptom. The other thing I did want to bring in, I brought some information. The Wyoming Department of Health has a great website, and you go to health.wyo.gov, and you can go to public health, you can go to infectious disease, epidemiology unit. They have tons of information about all the diseases, right? And in the news, we have the hantavirus that is currently affecting all these people on this cruise ship, right? Well, it is in Wyoming. We have not had any for a while, but since it's like front page news, I thought I would bring in some stuff. Anyways, the website at health.wyo.gov has all of this. You can just click on it. They have great, it's the epidemiology website. It has lots of information. But every year, the Wyoming Department of Health puts out a reminder of the hantavirus when we are cleaning, because it comes from mice, turds, and urine. And the most reported infectious rodent in Wyoming is the deer mouse. Those that are affected with the hantavirus, 40 to 60%, it's deadly. 40 to 60% of people that get this virus can die. Since 1999, We have had 18 cases in Wyoming and 7 of those resulted in death. So just some data. The way to protect yourself wear rubber gloves because it's aerosolized, right? When the you're cleaning out your floor bins or your garage or whatever, when the mouse that has infected feces and urine, it gets aerolized, you know, you're cleaning it turns into dust and you inhale it. That's how you get the virus. So gloves, wear a mask. N95s are really good. We have tons of them in the office. And then just use disinfectant and bleach after you've cleaned your garage or anything that helps kill fires. So since that is in the top news, and it usually comes out every year with a warning, spring cleaning is coming, prepare yourself.
You should stop raising those.
The deer mice,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's not even paying attention.
he's not even paying attention.
Reminded myself to get rid of the deer.
Deer mice. And then for a little bit of good news, the Wyoming Department of Health renegotiated our contract with Medicaid for our LT 101s. LT 101 assessments are the ones that the nurses go out and do for people that are gonna be on Medicaid, go into a nursing home, or on the community choice waiver program. And we do those assessments through the public health office. We get reimbursed $120 per visit, and they've increased it. They've never increased it, but they negotiated a new price of $185.50. So we'll have a little bit of an increase. We average 6 to 9 LT 101s a month. So that just brings extra money into the office.
Good deal.
That's all I got.
Appreciate it. Commissioner Burkhardt, any questions?
I don't.
Commissioner Walsh? Okay. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept the public health.
I'll make a motion to accept the public health report.
Second.
Then move in second to accept the public health report. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, and please tell all the nurses, on behalf of the commissioners, thank them for what they do. Everybody up.
I will, thank you.
And you said it's next week?
It starts tomorrow. So tomorrow's National Nurses Day. And it goes from the 6th to the 12th because it always ends on Florence Nightingale's birthday.
Oh.
So it's always like Wednesday to Tuesday. It's not like Monday through Friday like most holidays are. We're special.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Not seeing Kevin here with a maintenance supervisory report. He had emailed.
He sent in an addition, I don't know if he just sent it to me, but an additional mail, but the repair people, that were gonna. The big problem they're having at the detention center, they showed up this morning, and so he's unable to.
He has sent a detailed report of his thing that he's had going on. Incredibly busy, and I think that one thing that we could probably promote for Kevin right now is he is down a man in the maintenance department. I would say that there would be plenty of opportunity for a seasonal help at least, or for a seasonal job opportunity. Would want to put it out there that Kevin, I'm sure, will be glad to interview any help that he could possibly bring into the maintenance department. So based on that report that was provided, I would entertain a motion to accept his supervisor report.
I'll make a motion to accept the supervisor report.
I'd second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the maintenance supervisor report. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I don't have anything in the form of an assessor report, but our assessor is here.
I am. I don't really, I wasn't on the agenda, and so but I do want to simply report to you. I think it's statutory that I give you an idea of where the valuation is at this point. So that's maybe why I'm here. I ran the quick numbers this morning. It looks like we're up about 12 million on the local side. And so that's really all the information I had. I'm gonna put a bit of a bug in your ear. It's kind of unfolding as I'm sitting here. So the assessors have been sent the abstract report information that we normally provide for the state board of equalization. There's some discussion. And then actually, so the state board is contemplating a lawsuit opposing the 4% cap. And we knew that that was potentially going to happen. The governor asked them to pull back. So anyway, I understand that that's still going to happen. But the interesting part is in the abstract report that we're supposed to report, they want us to pull out the residential valuation. And I have a bit of a legal issue with that. I have a memo out to Eric, but I just was gonna put a bug in your ear. I'm gonna imagine you're gonna hear from the commissioner's side about potentially what that could mean. For us, that's about almost 100 million valuation. So at this point, I can't imagine that they'll actually do that, but what they're asking us to do is to sign off on it. And in my opinion, they're asking me to sign off on evaluation, but they're not adding that portion of the total valuation into it, and I have a problem signing off on something that's not accurate. So they're going to meet with some opposition. I think the assessors are going to have in pocket probably a tax attorney to represent our position. But the timing is really tough because that abstract is due within 3 weeks.
So would that be about a third?
Yeah. So it could be major, and the problem with it is that the portion of that they really have a problem with isn't that big, so pulling in the entire valuation doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So that was just another thing that I thought I would probably put a bug in there. And then, as you know, NOVs went out, and that was on the 20th of April, and so our appeal period will end May 20th, or the formal appeal period would end May 20th. The most opposition that we're hearing for the most part is the people that did not get signed up for the 25%. For last year it was automatic. That's why we're seeing some increase in our valuation as well. So anyway, we probably will need to hire a hearing officer.
And there's something to look forward to.
Yeah, this is all full of things. But anyway,
When's the last time we've had to do that?
I think the last formal I've had probably 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I lose track of my time. Maybe more than that.
I'd say it's longer than that because I've never done it.
Oh, okay. Well, then you probably know better than I do.
I think we had one on stand.
We had one that we thought was gonna happen and then it
I think they resolved, I think. So anyway, I'm not sure. I've got 2 that have asked for paperwork to file, but both of those are about the exemption, not really about the valuation. Other assessors' offices are having the same issue. The majority of the exemption or the appeals that they're getting are folks that didn't get signed up. And that's really out of our hands. That was a statutory requirement, and then the deadline was all set by rule. And it's pretty tight, it's pretty crystal clear. So we're, from the assessor world, we're thinking we will ask to remand those on to the state board and just completely skip this level. Because you can't rule on it. I mean, it's kind of out of your jurisdiction. So why bother? So anyway, I'm not sure how that'll all play out, but that's kind of the news this morning.
I appreciate the update, and I guess we'll just stay tuned and let us know how it develops, where it goes from
Yeah,
there.
that's why I didn't send a formal that. I don't even know formally what to say other than to just kind of put a bug in your ear while you're here. So
Very good.
We will put this as an informal bug in our ear.
okay. Don't kill that bug.
Exactly. Debbie, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate the information.
Yep.
That is the end of our departmental reports. If we could, stretch our legs for 5 minutes, we'll come back with new business, and move through the rest of our agenda. Thanks, real quick. Thank you.
So.
Way to go.
Yeah. thought Bob was bringing
Well,
stuff, but I guess.
I didn't think of it.
No.
Oh.
We're gonna move in. The new business portion of the agenda. PWC had requested that will be on the agenda this morning, but I have not seen Dr. Haas or anyone representing PWC here, so we're gonna welcome Marilyn Sturgeon, and you can either come to the table or you can visit with us from right there, Marilyn, but you have a concern regarding fireworks, it looks like.
I do. We've had a little bit of rain. And the fields and the yards and the weeds are very, very dry. 4th of July is coming up like soon. And I am wondering what the regulations are gonna be for sale of fireworks and people who decide they wanna blow them up. Cause all it takes is one spark. And then do we have the resources to stop a fire? Our fire departments can only go so far. I don't wanna have a wildfire like what we've already seen in Nebraska, Colorado, and places in Wyoming. I live within a block of one person who sells fireworks, and he fires them off all the time. What is the punishment? What is the rules? And what can we do about it?
So, we, kind of visiting about it, and obviously we rely heavily on Tom and, the current status of fire bans. And I think that, for us to make any kind of, decision prior to probably that 2-week period in front of the 4th of July, would be a little bit hasty on our part, but it does become an enforcement issue is the biggest thing, and the ability of the county and the sheriff's department to, along with the city police departments and our municipalities. I think the ability to go out and enforce that is then shifted to their departments. Now, as far as what the potential fines could be, what that enforcement might look like. I don't have the ability to answer that without having representatives from the sheriff's department here. And I'm sure that that could all change again with what the fire ban or the status of the fire ban, some different things, what might be in place as we get closer to the time of year when we know that people are going to be out and doing those kinds of things with the fireworks and the big quincentennial celebration this year. But there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to take part in those festivities. But I would agree with you, safety first.
Mhm.
That is always our priority, and the safety and the well-being of the people of the county. So we have to begin with that. We have to make sure that we address that from our position in conjunction with and in cooperation with the sheriff's. So that is the best that I can give you, not knowing without that crystal ball. You listen to some models and they say that we're scheduled to start receiving more moisture. And we may be having a conversation that is a moot point. But if it continues the way that it is, I think that we will have to become probably far more involved with how we enforce those, how we make sure that the people of the county are aware of what the expectation is as it as it involves the fire ban. And what that can do with the use of fireworks.
Okay, okay. I don't begrudge people who think that's a fun thing to do. I don't think it's fun. But I thank you for listening to me, and I'm just afraid it's gonna be dry and
Well, and whether we receive moisture or not, I think it still goes back to, and this kind of it piggybacks on our conversation about whether it's lighting off fireworks, burning ditches, starting the trash barrel on fire.
right.
A little common sense goes a long ways, and so I would hope that the people of the county that would consider doing something like that, if we are in a prolonged situation that we're currently in right now, you're not only jeopardizing other people's assets, when you talk about burning up structures or pastures or whatever it could be, you're jeopardizing the lives of others around you, the lives of our first responders. So it goes beyond that need to go out and celebrate the 4th of July. It
Yeah.
becomes selfish at a point. We have to be very careful with that. I
Yeah.
hope that people will remember that.
I have a burn pile. I won't burn it. Ain't no way, and I've got a lot of water to put it out, but I won't burn it.
Yeah. One of the 3 commissioners has a problem with burning when they're not supposed to be, and I won't identify which of the 3 of us that it is, but yeah.
That's what me.
Not me.
For some reason, people started looking my direction.
No, I'm looking.
Yeah, but it's a good reminder that we're very fortunate to have the first responders that we have in our fire departments.
I'd like to keep them safe for a while.
Yeah, I'd like to give them some time off.
Yeah, but I to, just so you don't quit burning your ditches. Oh,
Well, I think even to that point, when you think about the overall situation that we're faced with, this drought situation is so extended, it's so extensive. And you think about, and my fellow commissioners could talk more about it than I can, but where the resources are probably going to be exhausted first is going to be in the forest. And
yeah,
it's so dry, the high country has no moisture either.
Yeah.
One lightning strike in certain areas of Wyoming, and these guys are all leaving. They're going to help fight fire there. So then what happens to us here locally, it's just, it's kind of scary to think of it. And so I think that
yes.
the fact that you've come in and started the conversation is good.
Okay, well, I thank you for your time, gentlemen. And being patient with me.
It's good to see you again.
It was good to see you.
It's been a while.
I'm staying out of trouble.
As am I. As am
Do you believe that?
I. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You as well.
Seeing nothing else under new business, is there anything in the form of public comment that needs to come before our meeting this morning?
If I could, please.
Yes, Bob.
Mine's just on assessed values. I'm gonna give you a copy of the assessed values of my property from 2020 and what the current 2026 assessed value. The assessed values in Goshen County since 2019 have went up 59%. I included that bar chart there. The only thing I was wondering, where it says market value, and I'll give you a little background. I'm a carpenter and architectural draftsman, so I'm pretty familiar with what new construction costs are. In 2020, the property value was $185,900, $186,000. I did not spend that much money for the house. I spent $176,000. Current year market value, $319,258. Boy, if somebody wants it, it's for sale.
I
I just wanted
I
to
know a
pass,
realtor that would help you.
yeah, I figured that. I just wanted to pass this on because I know you're going into salaries and everything, but that bar really amazed me. This bar came from Senator Sherry Steinmetz on this, so I just wanted to share that because I'm probably not the only one that has sticker shock.
So Bob, on your graph here, when you show that, 2024, 2025, we were actually higher than we were 2020, 2026, is that correct? So if you actually were to figure in the inflation aspect on this graph and charted that with how the reduction of this graph comes back down, it shows that we were in a huge deficit due to the inflationary aspect of the chart. That's what's lacking in this chart.
Okay.
And so if you were to take a line and say, you take it from 150, we draw a line of 45-degree angle for inflation, you could see how the inflation aspect of it would outrun our appraised value aspect of it. So that's one thing I looked at this chart before, and that's the first thing I saw. I was like, well, we're not accounting for several different variables. It's kind of undone.
Yeah, it is, but it's a basis, and I'm an old man. So I remember what happened in the 70s when the housing market crashed.
Mhm.
Okay.
We had the same thing in 08.
And then in the 80s, the same thing. And when it crashes, even as she was discussing about the $100 million reduction and so forth. Look, it's starting already. And I'm just bringing this up because to me, an inflation rate like that, it hurts the community because young people cannot buy houses with the prices they are.
Absolutely.
A double income will not provide enough income for them to qualify for a loan. And I do know a few bankers and I talk to them, it's very frustrating for them too. And I drive around a lot, I'm sure you know, because I'm politically active, but the number of for sale signs in Goshen or Torrington, it's increasing almost every week. And it's too bad because we're losing people. We're losing young people in this community.
Well, and this is one of the problems we have, is what do we have for jobs and industry in this town to keep and retain young individuals?
Yeah, and I see one of the problems is where all this money that's going on a 1/4 cent tax goes to a group of people where there's no elected officials on that distributing that money. And it's just a picking and choosing winners. That's one area. We need to stop that. We need private enterprise. Look at the one particular religious group here south of town, that their steel manufacturing business is taking off tremendously. A huge auction business is taking off. They're going to build a whole brand new cabinet building and everything on the ground in front of bonfires. Now, when you work, let private enterprise develop it instead of tax funded basis.
Completely.
Yeah, that and I don't want to spend $5,000 to be a member of the board of directors.
I completely agree with you.
I mean, this is just my opinion.
You know, and you're speaking with like the Wyoming Business Council, I've had extensive amount of conversations with them. And we came to an understanding that injecting money into private industry is not a winning business model. It does not work properly. And that's, so the whole point of your thing is, you're correct. Private industry has to drive itself.
Right.
But here's the problem. We need private industry.
Oh,
And we're lacking it. That's why we're not retaining it. And we have a wonderful college with a great system up here on the hill that could produce wonderful people to fill those jobs, and we send them out elsewhere. We do not allow anything to happen here. That's the bad thing about this community. We're turning into a great retirement home.
Yep.
And that's it. And we need to introduce some industry here because we have applicants right there where we can educate them, we can leave them here, and we can start young families back in this community. That's how we're gonna grow. Until we can get industry here and people to realize that we need that, it won't happen.
Yep, I know, your businesses get turned down by economic development.
I don't know if it's the economic development thing that's
No,
turning
but
them
that's
down.
a start. It's tax money that they're not funding.
Right.
This is my opinion,
Okay.
so I'm all wrong on it, but anyhow, the biggest thing too. And we see it even in our state government. Department of Education. 80% of their employees are out of state. They don't even work in the building, in the Department of Education. Now, why are we paying people out of state to work in state? That's another discouraging point for people to stay there when they graduate college. And the government, it's all over in Cheyenne. Many of the offices, there's one or two people in it, there's nobody there trying to modernize it. No, I understand, but it just does start with education too. It does. When you only have 48% literacy rate at graduation, they can read at 3rd grade level. You can't even hire these young people. I know the sheriff's department, I've talked to 2 people over there. They had 5 graduates from Goshen County High School that takes the test. They couldn't pass the literacy test because they couldn't read. I'm don't mean to complain, but I'm just saying, we're gonna see an economic downturn. We're gonna see an evaluation change. It's gonna go bang, and we need to be ready for it. Cause it's gonna happen, and this is gonna be deeper than the first one I remember in the 70s on the Carter story.
I got some theories about how this is all falling apart.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna share them with you right now.
Okay.
I have some ideas why, and why the way our economic system is why it is. And our inflation is why it is, and we got some bad deals happening at the federal level. It's causing the whole problem.
Yeah.
Right, and I noticed you have your Doge hat on today.
Yes,
Who went to jail?
they're still filing charges. That's why he fired the one prosecutor. Well, the president fired the one prosecutor because she wasn't putting charges up. Look at Minnesota, look at California. Look at all of those that billions of dollars for the illegal immigrants. This is basically what it is. They're sorting that out, but their charges, and then you got the same problem in the judicial system of the federal government that you have locally in Cheyenne, the judicial department. They shut everything down. That will keep things going. And until that's changed, we need to go. I mean, this ultimately needs to go.
It seems like it just is the same old at this point. Well, we're not fixing anything.
Well, no, we talk about problems, but we don't fix them.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the problems could be easily fixed. You gotta remember, I'm an old dumb Marine. When you hit a problem, you adapt, adjust, and you advance. And that just 3 steps, just bang, 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 get something done about it. A little complaint, shut up and get out of here. My little complaint is the men's bathroom, there's no urinal that hasn't been for several months. I can't imagine that being such an expensive item. Thank you for listening to me, Bill. I appreciate it very much. Have a good day.
Dr. Haas.
If I could wait for Lisa Jellison, she's on her way. Or do you have us ready already?
We have you teed up and ready. We could. We do have an executive session scheduled that we could go into and then come back, but I don't know how long that
Okay,
is going to take.
so she'll be here in just a few minutes. Apologize.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Alexander has.
Oh, yes, Chris, I'm sorry.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Again, I'm sorry if you thought we were snickering, because there was nothing to snicker about. It's a serious issue about property taxes and all the complaining.
I just don't want comments being made to our staff or anybody that's at the podium talking. I don't want comments from the back. That's all I can
Did somebody
say.
make a comment too?
There was discussion going on there, and I think that's rude. So,
I can't speak to anybody in the back of the room about anything. It's a silence only. I'm just asking.
okay,
I need
go
to know
ahead.
the rules.
What do you got?
Well, the reason I came is also about property taxes. And I choose to live in a mobile home. Bought a brand new mobile home, put it on my property, because I didn't want to pay these outrageous property taxes and everything. And like your vehicles, they have a title. And I don't know if you've ever seen a mobile home, but how many of them go up in value? Most of them decrease in value. Lately, they kind of stayed even, but doubling in value is not what happens to them. Mine that I bought brand new has almost doubled in value. According to assessed to be doubled in value. Now, my insurance has not increased in value of what they're gonna pay me if it burns down or anything else. If I go out and buy one the same year as what it is, it's not gonna be double because you can go buy a brand new one. So when I have one that I bought new, sat there, made some improvements to it, but I haven't made another mobile home right next to it or anything to double it, you know. And it goes up in value like that. I think we're getting carried away. I mean, we get a 25% reduction in our taxes if you meet the requirements for it. But all they do is just raise the assessment value on it, so the value is gonna go up, and then after that, reduction that you normally would get disappears. Well, then you really have a gain. If you buy a new vehicle, your taxes on your place supposed to go down every year, right? What would you say if they just kept raising them up on you every year? Because that's basically a tax on your vehicle to drive it. Well, it's a tax on a mobile home that has a title just like your pickup, and it can be pulled away. So
When did you purchase that? Your mobile home?
where?
No, when?
2018. And I have a friend that purchased either 17 or 18 mobile homes, put it on a piece of property, and they paid less than what I paid for mine brand new. So I'm just saying, mine is not worth double value. Okay? The other thing I wanted to bring up back is I see we do have an executive session. And we realize how tight everything is, but I bet you that we do not lower the salaries of the elected officials because everything is so tight. I would imagine they go up. I hope I'm surprised that, and they don't. On the salaries. And that's all I have. Because it is an elected position, you'd be volunteer to serve. Sorry, I don't think it's something that you should, well, almost $29,000 salary. That's more than some people make for doing a full-time job. In this county.
Did you talk to your assessor about your?
I did.
You guys are up. Perfect timing. Look at that.
Thank you, commissioners, for time today. I think it's been about 3 weeks ago, Commissioner McNamee actually had an opportunity to meet with one of our board members, Kurt Sittner. We, inside the college, had a conversation just talking about next steps with the rodeo project that we shared here at a recent meeting. And I just want to take a second, just take a step back to provide some updates on that particular project. And one of the things that I just wanted to note as I start the conversation, I'd like to end on the concept of the future of where we're going and thinking about the college ag programming and things that are even bigger than rodeo. Well, in this state, there's nothing bigger than rodeo, but there are bigger concepts that rodeo is a part of and a significant part of at the college. So at our last time here, we had an opportunity just to talk about the rodeo program. There are two main part components of our ag programs at the college. We have about 35 students year in and year out that join EWC for curriculum and training and workforce training in agriculture. 50% of those students are actually rodeo students that choose EWC, and that is their chosen major. The other half of the rodeo students in our rodeo program, again, is right around 30 students as well. The other half of those rodeo students are in our transfer programs at the college with intent that they're going to end up at the University of Wyoming or Chadron State or other places where, and most likely in many cases, they want to compete. So the rodeo piece is a significant part of our ag program. Our goal is to grow that ag programming and our workforce development for this region. We have some, what I believe are some exciting things that we'd love to bring back at a future date, but staying focused on rodeo, our clear focus is making sure that we make sure that rodeo program which is one of the foundational groups in that ag program, have viability going into the future. And as I shared it the last time we were here, that viability has to be tied to boarding facilities. Central, you know, in the day when rodeo programs started in colleges, EWC was one of the first. And so at that time, there were one of a dozen rodeo programs, and today it's just one of many. But many of the other colleges, whether it's Central Wyoming College, programs at LCCC, Casper, they've all built facilities that provide the boarding as part of a process. And that's a challenge for our students coming into the region. We have many fantastic ranchers ranch families that actually help with boarding. But again, every time a transition of a property occurs, it doesn't mean those relationships are going to continue. So again, that is a significant focus that led the college to make sure this viable group of students for ag programs and transfer programs stay here, that led to the initiative of providing resources. So in that resource, one of the things that we're excited about is, we started some conversations, just thinking big picture about, relationships, whether it's with the county, whether it's with fairgrounds, looking at existing resources at the college. Throughout those conversations, the foundation has had some land development that has occurred, and Lisa's going to talk briefly about that particular process in a second. But our immediate need that again has been the strategic plan is making sure that our rodeo students have again access to that boarding process, and as we get ready to move forward, we know that there are two pieces to this, because the county is our partner. You maintain our rodeo facility. We don't see that ever going away. We want to figure out how we're going to strengthen that relationship. In some conversations, and I hope Bob Taylor doesn't mind me throwing him on the bus, under the bus, but
I do it all the time, don't worry.
okay, I understand. But Bob shared that, there are some other dreams of the county that look at, potential opportunities of county road access and other things that may impact the region central to the north side of the fairgrounds. The college's long-term interest is to figure out how we can partner in any way to look at what we can do to work together, to look collaboratively on any type of expansion. I view rodeo, and again, I want to be cautious in saying this in the state of Wyoming. Again, rodeo is a central program, but it's also part of a bigger picture that we do dream about. And I actually really appreciate, Bob Taylor talking about some of those visionary things that could happen. And in that conversation, because you were there with us, when we were sharing with Commissioner McNamee, we even discussed, the exploration of maybe a joint powers board to really explore what that can look like. And I really do think this summer we could start looking at what some of those options are, and trying to figure out what that, that 5 to 10 year dream is. And I think in Lisa, she's gonna quickly talk about a bigger picture but I want to share with you. I talked about just two things before we jump into rodeo, this big picture. Last week, I had an opportunity to take Todd Peterson, one of our IT staff, just prepping concepts. We went out to Illinois State University because we will be hosting the 2027 NACDA judging competition in this region. Generally, that'll bring 1,000 students from colleges and universities from all over the country to compete. And if you think of FFA and all those types of livestock judging, everything from parliamentary procedure, you name it. And we're bringing that event to our region next year. And it's going to test the resources we have here, but we do have the resources between the fairgrounds and the county, between the college and the county to host this event. It might even exceed a little bit. We might have to reach into working with other fairgrounds and neighboring counties. The event we just came to, even at St. Louis, they actually did the dairy judging contest in neighboring county fairgrounds, and the one where McLean County sat, they ran the livestock and equine judging. My point of saying that is we are going to use the resources of our region to help host this event and bring these ag students from all over the country. But that's just one big picture piece that we're thinking about that I think becomes part of that bigger exploration of what type of resources, because I think EWC in this region is right to host those type of events on a very regular basis. And I want to end on one just note before we turn over to Lisa on the big picture. This last weekend, the Ag Department has expanded what we call the Onyx and Gold jackpot. And it was very interesting as we're trying to expand what these opportunity offerings are. We almost exceeded the facility space in some changes we made that would draw competitors that were choosing not to go down to Denver and compete in a jackpot right in their own backyard. This is an event we've run for a number of years, but just watching that, the conversation came up afterwards. We want to move to a couple of those a year because it brings youth on our campus. You know, it brings families on our campus. More importantly, for us, we're very committed to that family unit that's connected to ag, and they are going to be a big part of the future, whether it's the county fairgrounds or whether it's the college. And I think there are some great relationships we can explore, but the leadership of our team, they were kind of debriefing, saying, you know, next year we may not have enough space here in our facility to host this event if we go to multiple. These are the kind of things that I'm very confident that the future relationship with our fairgrounds is going to be significant. So there's a bigger picture than just rodeo. I think there's some things that we can explore together to figure out what that relationship looks like. Sticking just to rodeo, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa.
Okay.
Who's going to provide a quick overview here.
Yes. Thank you. So I'll just provide an update on our rodeo and livestock facilities capital campaign. Just as a point of background, inside your folder, there's this brief that I'm reading from. But a little over a year ago, we had a planning group that had met for a few times and studied the feasibility of adding some horse sporting facilities to the fairgrounds. And we did a lot of in-depth study and identified some barriers such as space and timing, and also discussed that improvements to the pavilion are a top priority, not only for the county fairgrounds, but also for EWC, because that's where we host our rodeo. And then subsequently, a donor made 10 acres available to the foundation. And so we developed a conceptual design and cost estimates, because when we were talking, we didn't even know how much money we needed to raise. So if we were to work on just phase one of the concept, and that is to put horse boarding facilities on the 10-acre site that we have that's in close proximity to the fairgrounds, it could cost up to $4 million to do the, you know, all the horse boarding that was discussed. So our progress to date is we've raised 1.1 million. And our objective is to start working on the site infrastructure and to get at least 20 horse runs, 20 to 40, depending on how bids come in. And so then this is our timeline. We've just released a request for qualifications whether we're seeking from engineering firms, and we hope to have those statements of qualifications received by the end of the month. And then we'll go through a process for evaluating the responses and interviewing, and our intent is to select an engineering firm by mid-June. And it's an aggressive timeline, but we would like for them to review the concept that we have and really study that site. We need to coordinate and explore all the environmental concerns, coordinate with utilities, and make sure that we handle all the permitting and everything correctly. It includes a stormwater pollution prevention plan that would be in close discussion with or in consultation or meeting requirements rather of the Department of Environmental Quality and soil review and everything, so that they put together a site plan for how we can put horse boarding on our 10 acres. And again, we're hoping for 20 to 40 runs. And then that firm will prepare the construction documents so that we could go ahead and put the project out to bid in August is what we're hoping. And then the last little statement there is just that, you know, we want this to be a very technical approach, and we've heard from a number of neighboring landowners about concerns about groundwater and other environmental concerns. And so We have also put together a questions and answers about community questions that's also in your packet. And it's a draft and it's dated May of 2026 because we're just starting to explore these concerns. And when we hire the experts, they'll help us address these questions. And we also are open to other questions. We want to continue to expand this so that we're very transparent in this planning process. So in your packet, you've got a timeline, you've got the Q&A and a conceptual drawing of what the horse runs might look like and just an overview of the need for this project. And so we're happy with the support that we've had so far. I mean, we're 25% of our goal for what we're calling phase 1. And once we really get to true engineering, we'll have a better idea of through engineering and fundraising, we'll know if our phases go beyond that or not. So that's where we are right now. I also included for you an invitation. We're having an open house at our Agriculture Technology Education Center on Thursday. So if you haven't had a chance to tour that, we would love to have you come and see not only our ag facility, but hear about how our ag programs are growing. And we also have 2 new mobile labs. We have an agronomy lab and an animal science lab that's going to take EWC ag training throughout our region. So that's our update, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Well, you guys have obviously put a tremendous amount of work into it, and we've sat through multiple meetings, and have discussed it at length. And I think that it's been consistent throughout at every one of those meetings that I have mentioned 3 different positions that I have with what you're doing. One of them as a taxpayer, one of them as a county commissioner, and the other as a big fan of EWC and the rodeo program. So from each one of those positions, I've had the opportunity to talk with the 2 of you about it. Bob sat in on some of those meetings. The Goshen County Fairgrounds is a facility that I think that we all believe has an ability to expand and become a greater asset to the county. Currently, and I don't think anybody is going to be shocked by this, the deferred maintenance on especially the pavilion at the Goshen County Fairgrounds is an issue. It's a concern. And it would be my hope that if we are to continue what needs to be fostered as a partnership between EWC and Goshen County, that facility needs to become a facility that is I won't say designed for, but is maybe remodeled to become something that is a more multifunctional, multi-purpose type facility out there. I think that there are some tremendous opportunities for both sides of the equation right now to expand that partnership and that relationship. And I hope that we can continue to look towards that. It doesn't come without a lot of questions, and people need to be involved with that process. That, if you have either questions, concerns, information of relevance in any time, I know that you would appreciate that input and will require that input, before any part of it can move forward. So it's fun to look at the drawings that you have on there. A lot of exciting things. Whit Peterson should be pinching himself to make sure that he's not dreaming, because that would be an incredible addition to the program. With the facilities that could possibly be put up there. So, Commissioner Burkhart, anything you would like to add?
I don't think I got any questions.
There's lots of this. And I'm just hopefully that I see your plan going forward with this is the acceptedness of the residents nearby. That's my biggest concern. And I know that it looks like you guys are taking all the steps forward to try to mitigate any problems with that local proximity of homes and stuff in that area. But that's see where this might be one of our concerns moving forward. Hopefully we can it won't be as big a deal as I hope it looks like it's gonna be.
That's a very fair statement, and so. I asked Lisa to put together we started and this spring semester was tend to blend together on a number of projects, but one of them was to reach out to the stakeholders in that region. So we had a stakeholder meeting in my office, and actually Lisa was a big part of that meeting, helping capture, and I really shared with folks. And again, we need to hear all things, and they were very willing to say, I mean, people are, and they should be, right? As community members, we want to be a good community partner, but we will continue to have many listening sessions. There will be some public sessions where we just open it up to the community to come in. However, this first layer of RFQ, the frequently asked questions, the FAQ that we've just put together, it will, to answer some of the questions that come up, we really need the evaluation of the technical experts, right? So that is the request for qualifications is out, and we'll be identifying again what firms will handle that conversation. And when I say we, this is an interesting project because we do have, the college and the foundation are, you're well aware, are just two separate entities. And we have an agreement on how we operate between the two of us. So there's a lot of work that's had to go in, from review of legal to our leadership on both boards, to actually think about what that structure looks like moving forward. I think that same relationship is probably the same, no difference between the county and the college as well. Two separate entities that have very dedicated interest of wanting to make sure we move forward on every project we can together. So we can come back and provide updates to you, not only as this piece evaluates on our rodeo, on how we move forward, making sure we establish those boarding facilities. But there's always that step back conversation of thinking about the big picture and the other partnerships. And I'm very happy to turn it over to the commissioners for you, whether you meet an executive session, however you handle it. How could we put a small group together that continues that conversation of how we forge forward with additional things that we need to do? And I'm going to go back to the conversation of what we talked about in the pavilion itself. Obviously, it's set up very well for rodeo. However, there is aging equipment. Safety is always an issue. There are modern equipment standards that facility should go towards. I wish we were in a position, because there are two separate entities, right? We have state appropriation, counties funded off local property tax. We also have local property tax too, but we can't take our appropriation and direct it to another state or government entity, just as you can't do the same. But I do think there are some things we could do, because we have a very vested interest of trying to improve the game day experience and the use of that facility by modernizing and updating the infrastructure, not only for rodeo, but I really like the concept, Commissioner McNamee, of what are the other things we could do in that space and try to do some joint concepts. We bring NACTA here next year for this college and university event. About 1,000 registrants, a quarter of them will go home because they come and compete on a contest on Tuesday. But 750 stay for the banquet annual, and we do not have a venue for 750 students. So I'm already working with the fairgrounds. Probably we're gonna have to just, prep the floor and do the banquet right inside the pavilion. That's probably the immediate reaction of where, right? So the space will be rented for such things. I can see a future of these things coming back here regularly, not just NACTA. There's a lot of events where we can bring 500 to 700 young people, even if it's regionally, right? And so there's a lot of growth. And just coming back to deferred maintenance, the college, we ourselves are in the same boat of going through a lot of very big deferred maintenance issues that are significant. I understand the county challenges, because at the end of the day, you know, you rely on local property tax, we do have state appropriators, that actually have the ability to help assist that project. Not every government entity has that, so that's a unique challenge. But I think there may be some collaborative things we can do together to figure out how we strategize and maybe even help with that type of a plan, big picture. Because again, it's in the best interest of for the college, the county, and this region to make sure these again, facilities are very viable. So I would just say for the commissioners, if you have some thoughts on how we'd like to move forward of assembling a group, whether it's, you know, and again, I throw the joint powers board out Commissioner McNamee and I were just kicking around some ideas in our last meeting. Whatever the steps forward are to get to these layers of conversation, we're ready, and just let us know how you'd like to move forward and we will move swiftly.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the two of you coming in. Obviously, I think it's best when we're able to have these conversations, at a regularly scheduled meeting. Because I think one of the typical reactions when people don't see this show up in the minutes or something like that, they wonder what's going on behind closed doors, what happens with those meetings. And obviously, the number of times that we've sat down and tried to have these discussions, it's next to impossible to make sure that you have the public aware of and as a part of all of those meetings. So I appreciate the update, and I think that the people of the county will appreciate that as well, to have a better understanding. I am sure that it will come with some questions, and just as Commissioner Walsh has pointed out, it's going to continue to become a greater part of the conversation that people are having in regards to it. So I think we all look to what we can do to move forward with it, see where it goes. But it's got to start with the conversations just like this.
Absolutely. And we're happy to come back and commissioners will, I'll reach out to Commissioner McNamee. And again, I know as you look towards the future, I mean, if it's 3 months, when we're ready with the next piece of significant information, which will come from the RFP process, that Lisa Johnson is leading with our foundation, we'll set up a time and happy to bring that information back as we move forward. And we will also at the same time be having those same conversations when we have, again, evidence to take a look at. Again, no development of a project ever occurs without having a lot of checks resolved. And again, we don't even know if there are checks on, right? There's a lot of things we have to evaluate in this process. So we'll be very forthright in that. And we're gonna be very direct with the community members around that region as well. We captured the RFQ now. We're gonna go help answer some of those questions.
Good. Thanks for coming to us. Appreciate it. All right. That is the completion of the new business portion. Public comment that's taken place. Unless there is something else that needs to come before this meeting right now, we do have an executive session scheduled. So are there any other items that need to come before the regular portion of our agenda? Then I would entertain a motion that we move into executive session.
I make a motion, we move into executive session.
That's been moved and seconded that this meeting be moved into executive session for the establishment of elected official salaries. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Meeting is now in executive session.